Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday. Happy Fibro Friday. I am excited because while this is not a fun topic in the traditional sense, I think it is kind of good to know if you are someone dealing with any chronic illness, but also if you are someone who is supporting a person with chronic illness in order to know what you can do to help them more and to give them some tangible support and ways that you can kind of strategically approach their care while offering, offering something substantial because that seems to be the thing. People want to know how they can help. And the truth is, there are many ways to help. But if you have an idea of what the lay of the land kind of looks like for someone who is dealing with the financial cost of being chronically ill, then you might be able to fill in the gap somewhere, be it through, of course, financial assistance for those who need it that are close to you, or arranging something where they can get discounts for the things that will support them in their health journey. So, this is all about the cost of fibromyalgia. These are my personal costs. I'm very fortunate. I have a good employer. I have good insurance. I have a lot of support around me, and so this makes these costs may sound high depending on where you are in the world, but for me they were reasonable and manageable, nothing that felt too overwhelming. But I just want to give you kind of an idea of what it costs and give you some alternatives for different things so that if cost is prohibitive or you're supporting someone where the cost is an issue, you can perhaps help with that. Okay, there are options there. So, the first thing that you pay for if you are dealing with fibromyalgia or any chronic illness really is insurance, health insurance. If you are fortunate enough to live in a country that has social health care, socialized medicine, and all of that good stuff, then your cost is going to be, of course, lower out of pocket because this is already built into the system. But if you live somewhere like the United States where I live, you will be paying this through either the marketplace, through the Affordable Care Act, those kind of things. I'm not familiar with where the status of that is in this day and time because it hasn't been required for several years to be insured. But you will probably need some sort of health insurance or some sort of plan that will allow you to prepay for some of your care, right? So, health insurance can be pricey through my employer. I haven't looked at my pay stub this year very closely to like memorize all of the numbers, but of course, my health insurance went up. On an average month, my basic health is about $650 or $700, something like that. I can't quite remember. There are two people on my health insurance, though, me as well as my daughter. So that skews the numbers. But I would say if you are a person that has good health insurance and an excellent employer that subsidizes a good amount of that, you're talking about on the lower end $200 up to five, seven, $900 USD. It can get pricey, but that's what you're paying out of pocket every month. It might be pre-tax or post-tax. Usually it's pre-tax, but it just depends on what you've got going on, right? So you're talking about in a year, you're looking at least 2,500 on the low end for your health care and easily into 10, 15,000 for your basic health care stuff, depending on who's insuring you, right? Um, so that's the first thing. You're paying out of pocket for that. The next thing that you're going to be paying for is any medication you may have. If you have excellent insurance, then your medication costs may be little to nothing, right? A couple dollars a month. If you are on some sort of social insurance like Medicare, Medicaid, something like that, um, you depending on your medicine, I don't know all of the details with that because that's not my reality, but I do know that Um, there is many times there are many times issues with the cost of medicine when you are older. So that's something to consider as well. Now, I just mentioned health insurance. I just mentioned the cost of medication. I don't have any medication cost. That's why I didn't dive too much into my hard numbers. I'm not on any prescription medication. I use supplements, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But on the basic medical side, insurance and medicine, depending on what's going on with you, you're talking about 5 figures a year easily. Okay. So here are your options. You can research places you can go to get social medicine arrangements. People are expatriating the US and very surprisingly high numbers in order to get a higher quality of life elsewhere. And part of that is to access medical systems that are far more affordable. I'll try to remember to link some videos throughout for other people who've talked about their costs as far as living abroad and the reduction in their medical costs, because there are places where you can get top, you can, come in under their social medicine system, retain an additional medical supplement basically, and you can pay maybe 125 a month US for those plans. So even in a year's time, you're still talking about less than $1,500 to get top top graded healthcare wherever you're living, right? There are people who are very good at explaining all these options to you. I am not. But if you want me to perhaps reach out to someone who knows about that and see if I can bring them over here to talk, I'd be happy to. So those are your options. Going to a place where these are lower costs, but let's say moving is not an option. Maybe you aren't, you don't want to leave the US and you don't want to go without health insurance and medicine, which I understand that. You can start researching employers who have better healthcare options. That's a Google search. Which employees or which employers have the best healthcare plans, and there's a list for it. There are people have researched this and they have aggregated these lists for you, and then look for work with those places. I highly recommend finding a good employer. That doesn't mean that you will automatically get a job with those places. I'm just saying the research could be worthwhile if you are dealing with the chronic illness and you can do the job, you know? So just think about that as an option. Those are the top of the head costs. But then there are more costs, right? If you're doing any kind of therapies, then there are additional costs. For me, I started again doing massage every month. I have a massage membership where my massage is $80 and I pay an additional tip, which I'm not reimbursed for through my flexible spending. So $80 a month. So for a year, you're looking at $960. I hope I did the math right. I think I did. We're talking about $960 a year before tip. But I find that to be very reasonable because I am reimbursed for it through my flexible spending. So that is the therapy, the only therapy that I currently am doing semi sort of regularly. Before, I used to do massage, I do physical therapy, I do acupressure and trigger point release therapies. I did aquatic therapy. I have a whole video about the therapies I've done. I will try to remember to link it overhead right here. But I've done a bunch of therapies, and those had varying costs. So I can't tell you how much for everything. I can just tell you what I'm paying now. If you deal with fibromyalgia and you can afford to, I highly recommend getting massage as part of your regular routine of treatment. Even if it's once every other month, it can make a huge difference if you're experiencing muscle tightness and muscle soreness. I recommend that, as well as getting a membership to, if you're going to do a gym of any sort, get one with a heated pool where you can do your own aquatic therapy moves. Game changer. game changer. It may mean a slightly longer drive. It may mean a slightly higher monthly amount, but maybe not. It might be close to you, maybe the same price as any other gym, but make sure if you're going to do a gym membership, get something with aquatic therapy attached. It can make a huge difference in, or not aquatic therapy, a heated pool attached so that you can do your own aquatic therapy. It can make a huge difference in your health for sure. So that's my recommendation. If you can't get to an aquatic therapist, if massage is just a little too pricey, see if you and a friend can go in on a gym membership that has that heated pool for you. And as far as massage specifically, look up massage therapy schools near you because, yes, the students do occasionally want to work on people who are not other students and not relatives. And it can be really good because you do have a chronic illness to show, be a person that they can use to practice specific massage techniques for therapeutic purposes. You could absolutely try that. So, yeah, look up can't even talk massage therapy schools. Look those up and pursue that as a lower cost option. You don't have to do it every month, but if you can, that might be something worth exploring. Okay, so we've gone over insurance, we've gone on over medicine, we've gone over therapies. That gym membership too, make sure along with that heated pool that they might have like a yoga class, a very gentle yoga class. Look at their class options, make sure it's nothing you have to pay extra for, and that can be something that can help along with the heated pool. Okay, supplements. So supplements, this will vary by person. So I buy a couple of different supplements to support my wellness. I will buy herbs to make teas, and I also buy different pill form supplements. The supplement that I use most consistently right now is a prenatal vitamin. Prenatal vitamins can run you anywhere from $10 to $100 a bottle. Mine are usually in the $30 range. Again, something else that is refunded to me through my flexible spending. Whoops, I hope my mic didn't pick up that hit that I just did. So flexible spending reimburses me for those. So I will do my multivitamin, which is a prenatal, and then I will also do an herbal tea. So your herbal teas will vary depending on what kind of teas support you best. Of the three that I highly recommend, if you, and this is not medical advice, please no, this is not medical advice, but the three that I recommend that I get the best results from are nettle, oat straw, and soursop leaf. Okay. Nettle is just a really good all around nutritive. Same thing with oat straw, except it's also a gentle nervine, so it can help calm your nerves. And soursop is a powerhouse for knocking you out and giving you great sleep and calming your nerves. Okay. So nettle runs anywhere from $14 to $20 for a 1 pound bag on Amazon. I use the Magjo Naturals. You can use Frontier Co-op. There are other brands you can use, but Magjo tends to have the texture that I like best. So Magjo is my number one, and I'll put that in the description box. Same thing with oat straw. I believe my oat straw is Magjo as well, um, or it might be Tony's. It might be Tony's actually. I will put the best price oat straw that I can find in the description box for you. These are both on Amazon. And then soursop, if you can get to an international grocery store to get soursop, I highly recommend you do that. The price is much better than what I've seen online. My soursop lasts me a very long time, and it only cost me like $4 or $5 um, for a pack of the tea leaves, and it lasts. I've only used up one, and I've been using it for years. I've only used one bag of the leaves. The bags are small because you only need a couple of leaves to make, you know, a quart or two of tea. So yeah, you don't need a lot to make your soursop teas, and you probably won't need to drink soursop tea every day anyway. So for your herbs and your teas and stuff, your supplements in that regard, I mentioned that the prenatal is around the $30 US range for me. And for my teas, I would spend about about $30 as well, $30 to $35 altogether for the teas, but they last me for a while. The teas don't run out anytime soon. So you're talking about doing this maybe once a quarter. I might have to buy like that. Just depends on how I'm feeling, honestly. So those are some costs to consider as well. Um, what can you do if the prenatals at $30 isn't enough? Just find a really good multivitamin in the price you can afford. The Dollar Tree, the $1.25 tree, sells prenatal slash multivitamins for $1.25 a piece. Okay. Doesn't mean that they're very high quality, just saying if you are somewhat deficient, it's worth it to try one of those and see how that works. For your teas, if you can't get the ones that I mentioned, just try to find chamomile tea, which is also sometimes available at the $1.25 tree for a box, $1.25, 15, 20 tea bags, something like that. And you can make a cup of chamomile tea. It's a nervine, it's very gentle, it has a great flavor, and having something that relaxes you and soothes the nerves can do wonders for your pain levels. Another supplement, and I didn't mention this, but I should actually, two supplements that you should take: vitamin D, if you're deficient at all, and magnesium. Magnesium, we're talking about 12 or $13 a bottle, I believe, but the bottle's huge. You're talking about at least a 90 or 120-day supply, right? So, magnesium and vitamin D3, D2 if you can find it, but D3 usually is the one that you can find over the counter. I'm not sure of the price, but you can get those as well at the Dollar Tree if you look around carefully, right? Magnesium is harder to find. I have found it, but it's harder to find. It's usually an ingredient with other things. Vitamin D3 you can find at the $1.25 tree. So, increase both of those as well. That can help with pain too. So we've gone over health insurance, prescription meds, therapies, and supplements. A final, no, 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 not the final. I have one more type of expense before I get to the final: equipment, um, yoga mats, massagers, different devices designed, a traction machine for my neck. Listen, I spent varying amounts of money for different types of equipment. I have an acupressure mat. The sky's the limit for those sort of things if you want them. I would say address, if you're going to buy an equipment, think of the number one pain point for you and buy equipment that speaks directly to that, and don't worry so much about the rest. So if your pain point is you have a lot of neck and shoulder pain, then the traction pillow might be a good idea as opposed to like a trigger point machine. That may not be the thing that helps you so much. Or I also have the machine that sends like the little electric currents. I can't, words are escaping me. But you could get that if you wanted to, but you don't have to. You don't have to. You can skip out most of the equipment, if I'm being very honest. You can use a towel instead of those elastic bands that you use to stretch. You can stretch with just a rolled up towel. You can use a tennis ball to massage tight muscles. You have options that are lower cost. You do not have to buy equipment like what is typically marketed unless you really want to. So this is kind of an optional category, but there are costs. And like I said, the sky is the limit for that. The last category is support outside of your medical professionals. So I once had a fibromyalgia coach. I don't think I ever talked about this. I should in a future video. I may do that. But because I was working with the coach in the worst of my condition, I lost a lot of the details I had with that. Like a lot of the memories are kind of hard to access. So that's that. But I do remember the price. Course, I remember that. I remember the price, and I 100% agree that it was a worthwhile investment. So I will put the name of the coaching. I believe it was through Tammy Stacklehouse's business. She is a noted fibromyalgia expert as well as someone who deals with it personally. Um, but she coaches people to be fibro coaches, from what I recall. And her one of her coaches was great, and I think her name was Julie. I believe it was Julie. Okay, I will pull up all of those details and put them below. It ran me at the time, I believe, about $700 or so for 8 weeks of coaching. It was a sizable investment for someone who was just buying a house and trying to get things together, and just there was a lot going on. But it was a good investment for me because there was a certain structure I needed to get in place for my wellness, and she helped tremendously with that. I don't think I don't think you need a coach for that unless you really want one. And if you do, the link will be below so that you can contact them because they're great and I recommend them for sure. But if you, and the prices might be different. This was several years ago, so the prices may be different now. But if you are, how can I put this? If you are economizing on this journey, I would say the best thing you can do is get a friend to help you structure some of this stuff, an organized friend who's also understanding to help you kind of structure things. That person may be able to help you research some support options as well. Look for resources for structuring your day. One of my favorite resources, and this I'll definitely put in the description, is a planner that breaks your day down day by day and hour by hour, which really, really helps with getting control over your day. It doesn't help with the planning out necessarily everything that has to be done, but it can give you a fixed amount of time to look at the tasks to be done and identify what you can realistically do in a day. Which one of the things that really helps with is overwhelm, which is kind of par for the course when you're dealing with fibro. But having that hour by hour breakdown really helps with the overwhelm, or at least it helped me. So that I will put in the description as well for your convenience. I love it. I bought my second one. I had one a couple of years ago that I use sporadically because it's undated. So if you need it for the next couple of weeks and then don't need it for a few months, it's fine. It was an undated one, and I finally got to almost the end of it. So I ordered a new one. Love it. That is very helpful. I will try to come up with the resource in the next few weeks too. It's something that I've been meaning to work on anyway. And when it's ready, I'll announce it in a Fibro Friday video, but just something to help with organizing your life when you've been diagnosed, because there are a lot of questions, there are a lot of things to do. And the truth is, I was blessed to be able to get a coach for that. Everybody isn't. And this process is overwhelming. So if there's a way I can make that easier, I will do my best to support you in that. So those are some of the costs that I have had on this chronic illness, chronic pain journey. And it's been an amazing journey, but also expensive at times. And I don't want anybody to think that this is something that you have to throw a lot of money at. You don't. But what you save in dollars, you pay in effort and structuring and strategy and planning and all of that. You pay for it in another way. So it's going to be costly, either time wise, money wise, and sometimes both at the same time. But you can do it. And if you need help with anything, if you had questions about anything, let me know. If you have ideas too about things you want to discuss related to chronic pain, let me know, and just put those in the description box. I'm not description box, the comment section. You all know I read the comments and respond to everybody. So, yeah, as you figure out what you had a question about, please put that in the comments. I have a very special video coming up in the next maybe week or two. And I'm really excited about that because it's something that I mentioned in a previous Fibro Friday video. And it's a good topic. And I think you're going to really get a lot of value out of that. So, anyway, that's it for today. Please have an amazing, amazing weekend and take excellent care of yourselves and be safe, because I want to see you back on Monday when I release either like a perfume or makeup or something video, something that's not fibro related, because I saved that for Fridays. So that's it. Please take great care, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye bye.